It was the Halloween after I'd moved to a new town, a tiny place in the middle of nowhere, where everyone seemed to know each other. I'd only been here a few weeks, but when I saw the house for rent, I couldn't resist. It was charming, tucked back in the woods on a little dead-end street. There was something about it, something I couldn't put my finger on. A good deal, too, almost too good. When Halloween night arrived, the whole town was buzzing. I'd heard there was a huge festival, but I wasn't feeling up to socializing, so I stayed home and handed out candy. By 9 p.m., the trick-or-treaters slowed, then stopped, and the street was still. I was about to head to bed when I noticed a small, old VHS tape sitting in my mailbox. It had no label, just an orange pumpkin sticker on the front. I hadn't seen a VHS tape in years, and I certainly didn't have a player for it. But there was something curious, almost nostalgic about it. Out of nowhere, a light flickered in the window across the street. I looked out, but the house was empty. I'd never seen anyone go in or out, and the windows were always dark. But now a single, faint light glowed in an upstairs window. Strange, I thought. This place felt deserted. I glanced down at the tape, that pumpkin sticker staring back at me, almost mocking. Curiosity got the better of me. I went inside, grabbed my laptop, and searched for a way to watch it, digging through a box of my old electronics. And there it was, my ancient VHS to USB converter. I didn't even know if it would still work. I set it up, plugged it in, and started playing the tape. The screen flickered to life, showing an old, grainy home video. A couple was decorating the same house I was living in now. The walls were painted differently, but it was unmistakably my place. They were laughing and hanging up Halloween decorations, a carved pumpkin on the mantel and candles everywhere. They looked so happy, their laughter filling the room, but there was something odd about the footage. The camera angles were strange, almost hidden, as if someone had been secretly filming them. Then the video changed. The scene was the same, but it was now night, and the couple was asleep in bed. The camera stayed focused on them, so still it looked like a photo. But slowly, so slowly I barely noticed, the camera was moving. Someone was creeping down the hallway, edging closer to the bedroom toward the sleeping couple. My stomach twisted. This was too real, but I couldn't look away. The camera finally reached the bedroom door and hovered there, watching. The couple was still fast asleep, blissfully unaware of whoever held that camera. The person holding it must have been right there in the room with them. Then it cut to black. I let out a breath, realizing I'd been holding it, and chuckled nervously. It's just an old prank, I muttered, trying to reassure myself. But then the screen flickered back on. It was my living room again, but this time it looked just as it did now. The same furniture, the same pictures on the wall. Someone was filming my house right now, just a few hours ago. The camera panned to the hallway, down to my bedroom door before stopping. I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up as I realized I was watching a recording of myself, asleep in my own bed. I wanted to turn it off, but I couldn't move, paralyzed by a mix of dread and disbelief. Then, something happened that I will never forget. The camera moved again, creeping closer to my bed, but there was no sound, only my quiet breathing, the rhythm of sleep. The camera stopped a few feet from my face, lingering for what felt like an eternity. Suddenly, a whisper broke the silence. "Happy Halloween." The screen went black. I sat there, frozen. Then, I heard something I hadn't noticed before, a faint rustling sound coming from inside the house, from my bedroom. I wanted to run, but it was like my feet were glued to the floor. The sound got louder, closer, almost like someone shuffling around. Gathering every ounce of courage, I finally got up, grabbed my phone, and crept down the hallway toward the bedroom. The light was off, but I could make out a figure in the dark, hovering by my bed. My fingers fumbled on the phone screen, desperately trying to dial 911. But as the screen lit up, the figure turned. I dropped the phone, the light falling on its face. A grotesque mask, twisted into a sneer, its eyes staring straight into mine. "Happy Halloween," the figure whispered, the same voice from the tape. I stumbled back, tripping over myself as I scrambled to get away. But by the time I managed to reach the front door and looked back, the figure was gone, vanished into the darkness. The house was silent, just as it had been before. I never stayed another night in that house. By morning, I had packed up what I could carry and left without looking back. But sometimes, even now, I can still hear that whisper, soft but unmistakable. Happy Halloween.